everybody, welcome back. This is going to be my final episode for now. Like I said, I may add more to the stories later, but this last story is going to be the main one that I was wanting to get to. It's why I thinking about things and everything coming together, and why I was like, I really need to go ahead and start documenting this information. By the way, my name is Kat Carr, and I have a page on Facebook called Communicating with Non-Human Creatures, a View of the Unspoken World. Hopefully, if you're listening now, you've listened to my previous episodes kind of leading up to this. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make any sense. But the last episode, I was talking about the encounter that I had with a caterpillar in 2016. It was around that same time that I had a very wonderful experience with adopting a baby pig. Kind of cool how it all came together. There was a lady who lives about 30 minutes away. Her and her husband are farmers. They have a farm. They have all kinds of different animals on their farm, and one of the types of animals that they have are pigs. But I think the kind of pigs that they raise are like pot-bellied pigs or something. Very domesticated pigs. But she had put out a request asking if anybody would be able to take a baby pig off of her hands, because her female pot-bellied pig had apparently mated with a wild boar hog and had a mixed baby, half domesticated and half wild. And when the baby was born, it clearly, it didn't have the same coloring as its mother. It, had more of the coloring of a wild pig. And apparently her husband was just, really upset about this, just wanted this pig gone immediately. And she kind of, intervened and saved the pig. And, oh, no, I can find, because, she had that mother instinct. I mean, I believe she has kids, and I don't know her super well or anything, but, she was obviously very attached to the mother pot-bellied pig. I forget what the name of the pig was, but, she had a name and was, super pampered and everything. And so she saw whenever the mother had the baby, how, the mother pig had an attachment to this baby. So, obviously to the mother, it doesn't matter, who the father was or whatever. The mother loved the baby. So the farmer's wife was, not wanting anything bad to happen to the baby. So rather than just letting her husband take the pig and kill it or anything like that, she asked if there was anybody out there who would be willing to take this baby pig. And it was on social media. And there was a lot of people that responded. I could actually read their comments. And a lot of the people said, they wanted to eat the pig. They would raise it to where it got big enough to slaughter. And, some people weren't saying outright that they were going to kill the pig, but, whatever the reasons were. So I decided to put in a request. I was like, probably I won't get picked to give the baby pig a home, but I don't know why it was like calling me to do this, but I just felt sometimes I get these callings to do things, and as outlandish as it may seem, because I didn't have any kind of a place set for a pig. I had never been around pigs. I had never raised pigs or anything like that, but I had this calling to do this, so I decided just to go ahead and put in my, word that I would like the pig. And she messaged me and said, well, what would you do with the pig? How would you take care of it? What are your intentions with the pig? And I told her, I said, well, I certainly don't want to kill the pig or eat the pig. I want to raise the pig for as long as I can. And I also have a lot of land out in the country where we have pigs that are roaming free right now. So, if need be, I could release the pig back into the wild and she could live freely on my land. She would never be harmed there, And amazingly, she wrote back, and, out of all these people that had responded, there was at least 30 or 40 people that had commented before I had even had a chance to comment. For some reason, she picks me. and said, I feel like the pig would be best in your care. And I was like, okay, cool. So we decide on where we're going to meet and everything. And she brought the pig and, had a little carrier for the pig. And my children immediately fell in love because, the little pig was, I think, 6 weeks old. She was so super cute. My oldest son named her Adele. And that name just stuck. So, even though this pig was half wild and half domesticated, I still could see, if you've read anything about pigs or familiar with pigs, everybody that I've ever heard says pigs are extremely intelligent. And I kind of wanted to see this for myself. I've even heard of pigs being compared with the intelligence of dogs, or some people saying pigs are more intelligent than dogs. They're just, nobody ever says pigs are stupid that knows how pigs behave. Everybody knows they're super intelligent. Adele was definitely super intelligent. Now, she did have some aspects about her that were still a little bit wild. At that time, I had her in the house that was in the subdivision, and, she was just a little thing, but you couldn't really potty train her. If you let her outside, like you were going to, try to let her just go, which I had a fenced-in yard, but she would just go wild, running as fast as she could around the yard. And, I couldn't get her back in the house at times whenever, I needed her to, and I was always afraid because, pigs can dig, so it wouldn't take her long. There were a couple of times where she just disappeared. I let her out to potty, and, 5 or 10 minutes later, I go looking for her, and she's rooting up along the side of the fence, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to dig a hole in no time and escape. And, then what's going to happen to her? She's going to get hurt or something, because we're right here in the middle of the subdivision. There's dogs, and, no telling what would happen. So I tried to keep her in the house as much as I could. And pigs, they have, their natural sensation is to root. They use their snout to root. So she actually started rooting up tiles in my kitchen. Which was kind of funny because I didn't like those tiles in the kitchen anyhow. So I was like, thank you. Yeah, get those uprooted. And then I just have to replace them. That's the hard part. But she was really good at uprooting the tiles very quickly and efficiently. And she started growing very quickly. In no time, she went from, this little tiny thing that you could hold with one hand to, you could barely pick her up. She was, in a few weeks, she was just growing like a weed. And she got along well with my cat. They would play together, and it was really cute. She loved to cuddle. She kind of had, this interesting personality that sometimes she would give you this eye like she was really wary of you, and, she didn't want to be picked up at certain times, but if you laid down on the couch to watch TV or, fall asleep, you'd wake up and she's laying on your lap sleeping. She liked to cuddle, but she wanted to do it when she wanted to do it. So, we had her at that house for about a month, and I realized that, she probably wasn't 100% happy. She loved that we played with her, and, she really liked the way we fed her because, I really spoiled her with all kinds of good foods and stuff, but not really, any junk food, but, she ate a lot of fruit and just good stuff, But I realized that she was going to get too big for the house too quick, and, also I started communicating with her. She had the most beautiful eyes, just such expressive eyes. And I start trying to communicate with her, and that was the first time that I was able to make a real connection with a non-human creature that wasn't really like an insect. And I was, asking, what does she want? What does she want to do? And the message that she gave me was that she wanted to be with other pigs. So, I told her I could take you out to the country. I'm afraid that once I release you, I won't see you anymore. She's like, oh, no, it'll be fine. So, one day, it just came to the day, maybe about a month after I had her, that I told my kids we needed to take her out to the country. And, they were so upset. My oldest son is almost crying, he's like, oh, no. And I said, I think it's going to be okay. I've been talking with her, and we actually had some pretty deep talks where she's telling me that she's not going to be, she's not going to just disappear. I mean, she wants to meet these other pigs, but she loves us too. And my son's like, okay. I said, we want her to be happy, above all things. So I had also talked to her about the fact that these pigs that we have that run around kind of wild on the land, I mean, they're definitely wild. They're not anyone's pet or, they're not pigs that we brought here for any agricultural reasons or anything. They just live on the land. I was telling her about these pigs. I said, they're pretty wild, and, they really dig up the land and cause a lot of grief for my uncle. And my uncle's like me. He doesn't want to hurt any animals. So he doesn't really do anything about it. But, he's kind of frustrated because they dig up his garden and, rut up the land where it's hard to mow and this and that. And Adele was saying, I think I could talk to them. I think I can work with them. So when we brought her out to the country, she stayed around the house here at first. And I, put out food for her and water for her. And I kind of stayed with her for probably at least an hour while she sniffed around. And eventually I was like, okay, I have to go. And she went under the porch. And I had left her food and water there. And she was like, well, I'll go meet people. I'll go meet other pigs tonight. I'll go exploring tonight. And like she was going to take a nap or something. I said, okay, well, I'll be back tomorrow to check on you. So I left. And the next day when I got here, my son, we were looking for her. She wasn't under the porch. She wasn't around the house. He's like, see, I told you, she ran off and she's gone. We'll never see her again. So we started calling to her. And within a few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, here she comes running to us. It was so sweet. And we were so happy to see her. But we were happy, too, because I know I was happy because I could see that she was happy. And she let me know that she had met the other pigs. And she had talked to them. And everything was going well. What ended up happening, to make a long story short, is, she mingled with the herds of pigs that are roaming around the land. But she was able to communicate with them in a way on their level that let them know that they were, causing a disturbance to my uncle and his garden and his land, that, he doesn't want to hurt the pigs, but could they just back off of there? And from the time that she started living out here in the country, that was in 2016, I still see pigs around sometimes. I haven't seen her now in probably about 6 months. So I'm not sure if something happened to her in the wild or what. But all that time, she would come away from the herd. Now, the rest of the herd of pigs never tried to approach us. I mean, we would see them at a distance. But she would leave the herd to come to visit with us. And my uncle, I would tell him that her name was Adele, but, he always called her Miss Piggy. But he realized that things had changed after Miss Piggy came here. At first, whenever I told him that, I was bringing a pig, he's like, oh my goodness. But he kind of put two and two together and realized that after she came, the pigs stopped messing with his land. They stopped going into his garden. They stopped rooting up the yard and the land around where he mows. So, she never actually approached him, but she would come at a distance and stand about 20 feet away from him. And he knew her apart from, she looked a little bit different than the rest of the pigs that were out here. So he grew to really like her. I don't know if I would say love, but he really appreciated her. And that was something that just kind of taught me about how we can work with animals to, because so many people just want to exterminate wild boars in this part of the country. But there's a way to work with them to get them to move away from your area and not cause destruction to your property without having to actually exterminate them. So that's a message that I really wanted to get to tonight. And I thank you for joining me. When I do pal out the next program, I hope you'll join me then. And till then, take care. See you soon.